Okay, good morning. Sorry for late start, and we've been, working on preparing for the presentation from the students, and seems to be ready. So I think we can start now. So Nara, are you okay to start? Okay.
Yes, we're okay.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sorry to be late. So is there any who's gonna be controlling the sessions? You are or?
Hello. Okay, this seems to be on. Chihiro, are you ready?
Oh, okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Okay, let's start. We're group 7. Let's start.
So, hello, we're Group 7. Next slide, please. We have a business idea of creating an iOS app that will help users read terms of conditions. Because terms of conditions are very long and usually comprised of very difficult terms. Many people click agree with service without reading it. According to the survey conducted to 2,000 people in US, 90% of people didn't just accepted the condition without reading anything. Sorry. Also, there are cases that people got in trouble by not reading terms of conditions, and some terms of condition include traps, and they're usually made as difficult to read with terminologies on purpose because they don't want customers to notice the traps. And so our business plan is against this social issue, helping people read and understand the long, difficult terms of conditions. Next slide, please. So the first function of the app is pick up some traps like auto renewal service, the use of the personal data, and additional expense for certain services. Some malicious traps are usually blended in long passages and hard to find, but this service will allow customers to notice them easily. The second is to highlight prohibited actions in the service. This will also reduce the misunderstandings and troubles in the service. The last function is annotating technological terms. Possibly it will connect to dictionary function, which is originally installed in iPhone. Yeah, so next slide, please. The way to use this app is very simple. The picture is an example of app which has similar app extensions. First, download the app on the App Store. Open the app, and the function, which is app extension, will be simply installed into the user's iPhone. And then they use to select to use this function when they read the terms of conditions. And the information showing in the picture is the percentage of Android and iOS users in Japan market. Users of iOS account for 59.2%, and Android account for 14.8%. So our target customers will be iOS users in Japan.
Yeah, so could you go back one slide, please? We aren't done with that yet. So possible stakeholders would be like, well, of course, people of this group, like people who are starting this company, also customers or investors like venture capital or even angel investors who get rights on the company. And we could imagine collaborations with basically people who are interested in protecting consumer rights. Well, people who are interested in having consumers understand what's going on, like the Ministry of what was it, Education and Economics. Yeah, exactly. Like yeah. Anyways, like consumer protection groups, and also like fair trade committees and organizations like that. Next slide, please. Am I going to continue? Okay. So the way this app would finance itself would be through in-app purchases. So first of all, the app would be free to show, for example, the pickup tabs that Maya was talking about before, and to highlight prohibited actions, like things that you cannot do. And additional functions would be to annotate legal terms. And the income would be mainly through apps that you can remove by paying it. This is a very common concept, I think, for apps. And yeah, next slide, please. Okay. So the expected market value would be we would be targeting iPhone users. Oh, okay, sorry, Chihiro, do you want to? Sorry.
Okay. So I like to talk about business feasibility from the 3 point of view. And at first, sorry, I have made a mistake. I miscalculated. So I correct the number on each occasion. Sorry. At first, expected market value. The smartphone ownership ratio is 85.1% in Japan. So 126 million times 0.85 times 0.59 equals 63.6 million. The number of iPhone users is about 63.6 million in Japan. Next, total cost. Total cost includes development and maintenance cost. If we can cover with our fund, the annual cost to maintenance amounts to 6 million yen per year. The number of app, the third, future potential. The number of app and its users are increasing by year, so we will make a profit every year. And please go to next page. Thank you very much. And if the next price is possible income. So if all iPhone users download this application and 25% of them are paying user. And moreover, this app will be big hit. It means more than 1 million hit. So the advertising revenue is 5 million yen per month. So I recalculated total profit is 9.6 million yen. And net profit, about maximum, sorry, mistake. And net profit is 3 million yen. Thank you. This page is finished.
Thank you.
Next. Thank you.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, I think it's interesting then that the initial idea that terms of the condition not being read, and that then but there are a lot of risks not reading them. So notifying them is a good idea, and then so it will need a lot of kind of analyzing the language, legal languages. So it's like a artificial intelligence type of application. It will be. But so, do you have any images that what kind of user interface for the user is going to be notified and kind of paged or whatever? How the user is going to be kind of served by the application?
So technically, you're supposed to like read the contents of the app, and not the like. Of course, you're supposed to read the terms of conditions, but they're very hard to understand for everyday users. I think personally, like I cannot read the entire terms of conditions. So through the app, you're supposed to clearly have like highlighted parts that might be a risk to you, that clarify like what you can do, what you cannot do, and what the owner of the app can do with your data, for example.
Well, again, I want to leave the other people. Question from the other side.
From nice side.
Yes. I agree with him. So.
So is there NALA students who has a questions to them?
So we don't have question at this side.
Do you
Thank
have
you.
some question for SFC side? No one?
Well, one question: is there any? Anyway, it's still interesting as a target of the idea. And did you have a similar applications or support? Automatic, kind of interpretation of a terms and condition and notifying the user. Is there such application or services you found? No.
I mean, personally, I would just answer, I wish I had one. I don't know of any.
Yeah, that seems like yeah. This might be a good success. So go ahead.
And this idea very good idea, and this is a general comment. And usually, a company provide services carefully make terms of condition. For example, it is examined by legal department to make sure the company do not suffer damage. So the terms of condition is abstract in general, and so it is difficult for consumer to understand the terms of condition. And I hope you will check or examine the terms condition in detail, and this is a very important point. And also, and you mentioned a possible collaboration. You raised up and METI and Fair Trade Committee. And in Japanese case, I added one agency and consumer affairs agency. This is a comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So the next group is the group 6-2. Group 2. Is there any member?
Hello, we group 2, and our project, our business is Cheat Machine. Next slide, please. So imagine being able to see through walls or control your gun's recoil, or shoot people from far away, or shoot people from far away without missing. Actually, I have had countless moments in PUBG where I'm being killed by other players, and I've been wondering, why are these players so good? But actually, this might sound like a fantasy, but this is within like possible realms of possibilities, like being able to have these super player abilities. However, these options are not open to most players unless you're willing to pay for a specific cheating software, or if you're willing to hack the game so that you can have those super player strength. So actually, a recent survey by a security company called Atedo found that 60% of online games were negatively impacted by cheaters, and 77% of players said that they were willing to stop if they think competitors are cheating. So basically, our problem, or the problem we are trying to solve, is cheating on online games. So I think this slide should be by Mr. Kawai from NICE. Miss Kawai-san.
Hi.
Hi.
ね、
お願いします。
The game companies suffer the following damages due to the cheat, such as reduced paid item proceeds and reduced general users. Especially, In the esports field, the cheat makes business fails. The actual financial damages are below. Above all, the German company Bossland, the Bossland cheat caused particularly large damage than personal cheats. Moreover, there is also damage this year. Next slide, please.
So this is actually one of the market or online gaming market. So actually, video game industry is projected to reach about $174 billion in 2019. And actually, according to Digital Information World, indicates that there were actually 2.3 billion gamers worldwide. That's like, is it 35% of the world's population? So basically, almost half of the world is using games. So there's a huge market in the gaming industry. However, because of cheaters, this market is going to decrease, and I think that's why we think that we should do something about it. Next slide, please.
So there are a few different solutions for cheating in online games today, but most of them depend on basically the same model that we use for conventional antivirus. Some of the current solutions are Valve Anti-Cheat, which detects cheats by referencing a database, much like antiviruses do, as I said. And they also use severe penalties as a deterrent. And a couple ones that are not listed are BattlEye, which also uses the same method, but mostly uses preventative and not as many penalties. And recently, Kaspersky Anti-Cheat, which was released actually May of this year, is targeted towards esports, but it also uses the same method. And this conventional method, it works, but it has actually a couple of severe disadvantages. And one of them is that it results in a cat and mouse game because cheaters are constantly trying to obfuscate their code, and like even script kiddies can find out ways to hide that they're using the exact same cheat that we banned like a day ago by changing the signature of it, so that's unrecognizable. And of course, the other problem is that anti-cheat software is basically spyware, and so it can attract a lot of bad publicity. And our proposed method is to use behavior-based cheat detection using machine learning. And there have been several games and research studies that have. Sorry, can you go back to the previous slide? Yes, that have proven the viability of this idea. One of them was in 2013 when researchers built their own FPS game, and then used a machine learning a machine learner to detect auto aim cheating with 90% accuracy. In 2019, actually last month, a developer trained an AI to recognize instances of cheating in the popular shooter CSGO with 98% accuracy. And also earlier this year, the developer Nexon deployed deployed machine learning to detect wall hack users with 92% accuracy in their popular shooter Sudden Attack. I can go into these in more detail later if you want. Sorry, next slide. And so machine learning based cheat detection is purely behavior based, which means that it only looks at replays from the rounds. It doesn't have to scrape any data from your hard drive or look at any of your running programs. It occurs entirely on the server side. And different models are used for each category of cheat within a game, such as auto aim or wall hack. And of course, this makes it more complicated than just simply deploying it and forgetting about it. It also allows us to make money, which is important. And this approach can be applied to many different types of competitive games, but also possibly non-competitive cooperative games as well. And this is just an image of a neural network and how it might be used to detect cheating using observation of player behavior. Over to you, Kawai. Kawai.
Next slide, please. Conventional methods of cheat detection are follows. One is third-party app detection, and the other is heuristic analysis. The third-party app detection performs using signature-based pattern matching, and the heuristic analysis compares player win and loss patterns to distinguish between human and machine operations. Next slide, please.
Okay, so we are targeting gaming companies, especially small companies, because it will benefit more from outsourcing anti-cheat to us, as opposed to big companies like Valve, which tend to make their own anti-cheat. How to produce profits? We provide AI system corresponding to each game companies, because each game has its own characteristics and it's difficult to adapt one AI algorithm to all games.
So in conclusion, our project is basically to try and use deep learning methods such as RNet to detect cheating players in the games and use that to ban them, or just take them out of the game. And we think that this method is feasible because it's using basically the current the state of the art machine learning algorithms, and it is also feasible because it does not disturb the players while they're playing. And we think that there is a huge market in the gaming industry, and this market should be saved through AI based solutions. That's it from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I have one question there. You said already that this is a kind of generic algorithm for the different type of games, and then the learning from the. So I was wondering. I mean, as you mentioned, then each of the games has its own characteristic, and then the behavior, user interface, and the operation, and everything, right? And therefore, I was wondering, of course, kind of cheating method is going to be different as well. All right. So is this the kind of approaches do one by one, or is there any common way to do providing that kind of anti-cheat method to the multiple games?
Well, oh, sorry. Certainly we can maybe use similar methods of deploying the neural network to similar games such as shooters, although it might be difficult to use the exact same one. Yeah.
So if there is a category or pattern or model of the game, then you can apply the same method to the different games. Is that?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of work that goes into deploying it.
Mike.
Sorry. Okay, so there's actually a lot of work that goes into deploying a neural network other than just training the neural network.
Right.
For example, Sudden Attack had to test a lot of different methods of, like, I forgot what they were called, but anyways, they had to do a lot of hard coding and programming in order to properly deploy the neural network to detect wall hacking. They couldn't just train their model using images from the screen and expect that it would work. Because, for example, the user interface of the game tended to confuse the machine learner, and so they had to use a sort of grid-based approach. Sorry, I'm not really familiar with the details, but yeah, it takes a lot of work.
So can I just add on what he said? So I think with using machine learning, so we have layers of neural network that are able to at least detect players. So see, for example, a first-person shooter, and then from there, the last layer of the neural network can be customized so that it's able to detect cheaters in a specific game. So we don't have to change the entire neural network model, but we can at least change the last layer of the neural network. In that way, we can customize it.
Thank you very much. So the next group is the group 3.
Sorry, we're kind of short on time today because there's 8 groups, so we'd really appreciate it if you guys could keep your presentations short, include. 3 minutes.
Start? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today we'd like to present our cybersecurity firm. You go to the next slide. Yeah, so our idea is individualizing cybersecurity. We predict that there's a large reliance on government and large organizations to protect and inform us on cybersecurity risks. We have a plethora of companies that work on physical protection, such as house alarms, to try and keep us safe from physical attacks. But we somehow lack in awareness in cybersecurity, making us increasingly vulnerable to personal cybersecurity attacks. A lot of cybersecurity firms now that we see in our modern age is catered towards governments or is a large company that covers cybersecurity like an umbrella. Instead of having each individual person protected, each individual person relies on that company to protect them. So instead, we'd like to individualize cybersecurity. Yeah, sorry. This is what I meant. So with mass awareness and protection, it's better than over-reliance, as if that umbrella that we are relying on collapses, then the entire system fails. Like a domino effect, we all are vulnerable. So instead, by protecting ourselves and being aware ourselves, we are able to protect ourselves, and we have strength in numbers rather than relying on a large company or organization.
So our firm's aim can be divided into 2. So the first one is like a program and an application that can be used to assess personal cybersecurity vulnerability in our mobile devices, as well as our laptops and computers, like regular computers, to inform the user of aspects in which they are vulnerable. So an example of that would be like person has a email password that just says password. So the program would detect that and inform them that the level of vulnerability, and informs of countermeasures to help the user protect themselves. And the idea is that we'll start protecting ourselves as a collective rather than relying on governments and other big companies and governmental bodies to protect us. So, and the second aspect and the aim of this company is that we would provide assistance in home security, so like IoTs. We already have alarm systems that are implemented into very foundation of the house, but it will be like a box, yeah, in our home where they detect, they basically protect the entire home. So applying the same concept, we can provide users with AI systems that can regularly maintain and check up on and systems within the house that are vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks and inform the user.
So basically, this our firm is be conducted using the B2C model, which is business to customers. So we will be directly selling these, and it will be targeted towards vulnerable groups as well as the general population. So it'll be available to us in ordinary homes, and we're planning on starting with high-income countries such as Japan, America, England, and the stakeholders will be people who want to protect themselves from cybersecurity attacks. And we're gonna try to get the government and large companies involved for them to protect smaller crowds of people for ordinary homes and its employees. Next slide, please.
Okay, on the potential challenges is one challenge is you are going to face resistance, of course, from the already established companies or from the governments. And also because it's like you're providing another service, so also gaining trust from our customers will also be a challenge. And also because of this kind of product, we are covering a wide range of customers. That means to be able to start, we'll also need a lot of funding. So we need to find a stable source of funding. And also for the reachability and adaptability, because like if you are going to cover like home security or IoTs, that means you are going to be dealing with products from different vendors. So it will be difficult to also, we cannot have a solution which fits for all IoT. We don't have a solution that works for all clients. So every client maybe will have to have different solution. And also will also require a lot of employees because of our coverage. Yeah. And also, yeah, it's going to be expensive. Next slide.
And we think our feasibility is one of our feasibility is 5G. From a user perspective, 5G is inherently different to any of the previous mobile generation. Machine type communication enabled by 5G to become the unique selling point of 5G in the long run. 5G networks will serve as critical infrastructures to facilitate the digitization, automation, and connectivity to machines, robots, and transport solutions. I think the next digital era will not just be confined to data behind screens and keyboards, but will also enter the cyber-physical domain through robots, sensors, and cyber-physical process. And one more is that the government has paid more and more concern to cybersecurity.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Is there Yuki-san in there? No?
No, he's not here today.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, he's attending a conference in the UK, so that's why he's not.
Okay, he's not in the room, so okay. Yeah, actually, how do you evaluate your service? I mean, comparing with other competitors or the existing services, or what is a sales pitch of what you try to provide?
So what we think our unique selling point is that we provide the tools for individuals to protect themselves. Like I said earlier, we are relying on large companies and governments to protect us from cybersecurity attacks. And the problem with that is that when that system and that foundation fails, then the people who are relying on that kind of all become vulnerable instantaneously because it's kind of like a domino effect. We all become vulnerable. So instead of, we think that people don't have the necessary tools to protect themselves. So that will be our unique selling point, that we will be providing the tools and the know-how and knowledge for people to protect themselves rather than relying on large companies to do that for them.
Okay, yeah, I understand that part. So my question was still how, right, type of a thing. I mean, if the large-scale companies, watching all the incidents of cybersecurity, and then they find out the solution, that's might be what they're doing right today, and then comparing with what you are providing to do is that how why, I mean, it has to be a kind of at least equal or better than the existing services, right? Okay, so how can you achieve that point? I mean, what is your idea of you have a confidence to be better than the existing one, other than it's not depend on the large company or government?
Well, what our idea of our product will be is like an application or program that people will use that's independent from the company. So it's not like an automatic program that we download and then it does it for you, but rather you input your own system, like your own, let's say, passwords and emails and all that to that system, and then that system checks your vulnerability. Much like how I think in a previous lecture we saw a video of a company that tests a different company's cybersecurity vulnerability. We'll kind of do the same, but on a much smaller scale and on an individual scale.
And I guess like our other selling point is that it's more accessible, and it's like we're trying to make it like more accessible to, like, you know, for example, like 60-year-olds, like elderlies as well. Like we don't want to just target like young audience. It's more of like accessible to everyone, and everybody can have like security in their like internet and their homes, because in the future we have more like IoTs and like AIs involved in our life. I think it's important that like we have like a self-defense system in our home instead of just relying on a bigger firm, like he said before.
Okay.
Thank you.
Group 5, are you here?
So good morning to all the students and professor. We are group 5 and today we are here to propose our business plan about microchip implants. So let's begin.
Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about what is exactly is microchip implanted. For those of you that wasn't familiar with this, so it is like a micro device that was really put under a silicate container that people usually do surgery to put it under the skin of their hand. The first experiment recorded is done by a British scientist called Kevin Warwick in 1998, but like he did it in the conference, I think. So basically what he wanted to do is to illustrate this technology to other scientists. So he did a surgery a few days later to take the microchip out. So nowadays, it is most commonly used as a digital identifier on security access or medical records, and there are a lot of other usage, which we're gonna talk about that later. Okay, so the next, why we want to choose microchip as our focus is, first of all, is because this industry is basically booming right now, or we can say that you have like a booming future. Sweden is a country that was most commonly known for the usage of this technology. I mean, this started in 2015, and in 2018 there are already more than 4,000 users that accept surgery to implant a microchip inside their body. Also, I think this business is basically under a condition of a blue ocean market. So if we can move to this industry earlier than other competitors, I think we will gain a first mover advantage. And the risks behind this technology. I mean, this technology can obviously bring us a lot of benefit, but you also have like a huge risk behind it. First of all, it's because how important it is the information that it stores, because basically it will store all of our like our personal informations and our like ID. It basically is just like used as our ID to get access to our like doors, cars, and credit card information. And also, it is very hard to track the crime and the serious sequences it will cause if a crime actually happens. Because imagine like if your chip get hacked, you want to replace the chip. It's not like you just replace your phone. Normally you have to do a surgery to take the microchip out and implant a new one. And you cannot make sure that the crime is not gonna happen on the next time. And next is our business plan. So first of all, before we even start the business, we wanted to promote the technology in general to the normal people, or like to those people that was involved in this industry. So like developers, computer scientists, because we want to get more people involved in this industry. Because at the end of the day, we are a company that just providing like cybersecurity support to them. So we wanted more people to get involved in this business. And then we also want to build a close relationship with the manufacturing side. So for those big companies like Amazon, Google, or to hospitals, government, or any of those big manufacturer, because they are the one that's gonna decide what's going on, within this industry for the next 10 or 20 years. So we want to build a close relationship with them and get aware of that. And so that is our ultimate goal, is that we want to create a B2B platform which we can provide our services to those smaller companies, because for companies like Google and Amazon, they have their own people of on the security, on how to make sure that their product is secured. But for those other smaller companies who may not have the same like, they will not be able to make sure that their product is secured. Like, they can just go to our website and we can provide the software secured assurance to them, so that they can also publish their products. And Woojin is gonna be continuing on the consumer side.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about our customer. Okay, so of course all the user are our customer, but I try to group into 4, but of course there will be more. So firstly, about the workers or employees, because they are using this for handling some office data or info. And nextly, about pet and baby. So it's the different group, but I try to sum it because they are using for tracking. So for example, if they lost in some department, if we have microchip implant, of course we can find it. But of course they have the personal info about like owner's address or owner's phone number too. So there will be some privacy also there. So that's why we need to have intersecurity. And lastly, citizen. Of course, they book the train tickets, use vending machine without cash or credit card. But of course, there will be more usage. But if you lost the credit card info, of course, somebody gonna use it. And after 1 month, you will receive some huge amount of bit. So that's why we need to have internet security for that. And next, for this stakeholder, nice, we're gonna talk about it.
So yeah, in order to the stakeholders of involved in our idea, in our company idea, are basically the company producing the microchips, that is the manufacturers themselves, and also the body hacker, that is the doctor that will implant the microchips in the body of the users, and then the companies that will buy the microchip for their employees, and the journalists, because they are very important in order to change the mentality of the society, and the various experts in the field. Right. Next, please. Sorry, next slide, please. So, how do we make money from our idea? Basically, first, I think that first we think that we need to tackle the core problem of microchip implants, that is the uneasiness of the users, because people are really not confident with the idea of having something in their bodies. So we can provide some formations to companies in order to assess or promote our idea, the microchips and our securities. And we can also sell the secure devices along with a guarantee, and also send independent security license. And finally, we can reduce the price by using a partnership with some of the stakeholders, the manufacturers and the doctors. Thank you. Next. Yeah, I give back to Eo.
The future usage, which is the feasibility, it becomes cashless. Right now in Japan, it's also becoming cashless. So it's gonna be more, like put it in here and be like beep, where you can buy things. And IC card, you can like, you don't need the card or ticket, and you can just beep. And ETC Highway, you don't need the cartridge to put it into the car, and you can just go through it. And healthcare, Wujing had the slide just now about having diseases to be cured, putting implant, and GPS in natural disaster. So like when in earthquake, I talked about it before about public Wi-Fi, right? So in that natural disaster, we can find people easily. And I used to live in Hong Kong my entire life, and I also have a house in Thailand and Philippines, and I have a pet in there. They're pets, and to be transferred in Hong Kong law, we always have to have a GPS to bring over animals. It's a law to implant. So my pets, both of my pets, have to put implant. This is this thing. It's like animal ID. You put it in this bag, and then to be like checked in Hong Kong. So actually, you have to have it for until the dog or animal dies. Yeah, and then the price range around is this right now. Yeah, so it's not that expensive for animals too. So yeah, it's just the law, and it's kind of like something I pretty much know. I don't know about Japan's law yet, but yeah, animal carriage is like that. Yeah.
Sorry, we're kind of short on time, so if
Oh,
you
okay.
could
Okay, thanks.
conclude quickly, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, one quick question. So, do you have any practical images about the risk? I mean, what kind of possible, say, cyber attack type of things for the kind of microchip architecture?
As I said before in the public Wi-Fi too, because 000 Japan Wi-Fi is used for everyone, there was also personal information involved. So in this too, getting implants is like connecting, or we need trust between the hospital and hacking system. So I think the information should be more secured, and also the hospital should also have a reliant information person so that we can also have a contract. Yeah, I think that's important. What do you think?
Yeah, I think right now, I don't think the microchip right now is connected to the internet or anything. I think right now it's just used like a identifier. So I think the crime could happen just like normal, those credit card stolen or like any normal crimes that might happen. So I think it's.
Okay.
No, sorry, we really don't have any time. So if Group 6 could come up. Sorry, we don't have time. Okay, so if we have exactly like 10 minutes left for each group, so we'd really appreciate it if everyone could keep their questions and everything within 10 minutes. So yeah, thank you in advance for your cooperation.
Okay, hello everyone. We're group 6, so now let us begin. Next please. So drones are impacting our society, like army, advertising company, and entertainment as well. So they will contribute significantly in the upcoming smart cities. However, they could be misused for malicious purposes, such as terrorism. Therefore, our team has decided to create a company for ensuring society of drones. By doing so, we will present our business plan.
Okay, so thank you. Next, please. So the first point of our business plan is related to the stakeholder. So basically, a stakeholder is any person, a group of organization that could affect our business. So here we have a kind of stakeholder. There are some internal ones like the employee or the directors, and also the external stakeholder like the customer, the carriers, the drone manufacturers, and also the government for the policies and so on. Next, please. So the second point is related to the customers. So we have two main customers, the government and the commercial companies. So the government, actually, right now, the government doesn't understand the importance of drone security. Here are two cases. The first one was in Venezuela and the second one in Japan. So in this case, we can see the impact that could have a drone-based cyber attack. And the next point is related to the commercial companies. So for instance, in our mind, in the future, we can have maybe Japan Post can, for instance, send packages and mails by using drones. And by doing that, I think also Amazon and Rakuten can do it as well. So our company, the goal of our company is to provide a security for this kind of drone. So from that, how to reach our customers? Lee should talk about this point. Lee, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So,
Anyway, next.
we will use multiple ways to reach our customers. First of all, we will go to different events like conferences, colloquium, symposia, or especially the tech fair for companies who's interested in using drones. We will use B2B channel, B2C channel, and B2G, which means business to government. And also we will use online communication. We build our own website, our own social media channels, and through online advertising to advertise our services. And finally, we will, because one of the customers are government, so we will use government relations through our personal relations, and we will utilize the news, the media, and of course we'll ask our friends to introduce our services to other customers.
Next slide, please. Okay, this is a value proposition of our business. So it's how we manage our drones. And our business is about cybersecurity regarding the drones. And for prevention methods, we plan to analyze the drones, specific drones that comes to our services. So for example, there's various amounts of drones, and each of them has their weaknesses in cybersecurity. So we plan to collect the information of how we can maintenance and operate when the cyber attacks has come to our drones. And the second way is a more direct way that is implemented inside the drones, is we plan to create software updates and put reinforced firewalls or advanced algorithms or isolate the networks itself that drones are being used instead of the public ones. And the third one is basically operating a call center, so monitoring drones operations, just like how automated vehicle does, such as like Tesla. We tend to manage the drones' routes. If, for example, if they are lost or attacked by other people and being lost, we can have a 24/7 service center or call center, so that in real time, the customers can go against it, and we can help out. And next slide, please. So this is the main point of our business plan, how we plan to manage our money and how we plan to collect revenue. The first or the main way is subscription of our services. So we plan to earn our profit through how the customers will pay each monthly subscription to our services, such as we provide. And the second one is a more feasible idea, as we planned, is subsidies granted by the governments. And our customers, another customer is a government, and the application of drones as how the government's uses are very wide. For example, they're used in fires or firefighters or law enforcement and many other sectors. So we plan to apply the drones and help out for the governments. Oh, okay. And the third one is a additional revenue, how we can collect more money from them. So if the second idea works, how the government buys our ideas, we will basically be a firm that like dominates the market itself, because we've done some research about drone cybersecurity, and most of security that regards to drones are basically physical security and how the firms use drones to go against law enforcement. But our firm is unique to their other people's, because we have a firm that is cybersecurity directly to the drones and how we could ensure the security of our drones itself. So if we tend to create a monopoly of our firm, we can collect additional revenue from advertising specific drones that is very strong in cybersecurity. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay. So when you say security of drone, does it mean you protect something from drone, or you protect the drone itself?
It's the second one. We try to protect the drone security. For example, if they're undergoing cyber attacks of the drones, and because these days drones are very expensive and being used in wide sectors, we thought if we could ensure the security of drones, there's a better way to earn money.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Hi, so we are DeepGuard. We are a cybersecurity firm that works on keeping the web real. We want to detect deepfake media content and give our customers the opportunity to protect their own reputation and view the real world. So, next slide, please. Why is deepfake a problem that needs to be solved now? Fraud is one example. In scams and frauds, it's usually a human factor, which makes us put our guards down. We often see people pretending to be somebody else, and if we trust that somebody else, we are in trouble. With deepfake, this is taken to a new level. Deepfakes can also be used to create fake political propaganda. Doing so could erode public trust, negatively affect public discourse, or even sway an election. In many ways, it can lead to the end of trust and essentially the death of democracy. Criminals don't need any actual data on you anymore. If you don't send X amount of bitcoins, your face might end up being put on an inappropriate video before it gets distributed to your contacts. Right now, there's also a lot of deepfake pornography exploiting especially female celebrities. Our solution addresses all of these emerging risks and issues.
Next slide, please. So our software uses AI algorithms, which continually learns and improves upon its original mistakes to increase its accuracy rate every time the software is executed. The algorithms used will be the detection of inconsistencies with pixels and how the light reflects off faces, if the person is blinking unnaturally, and weird mouth movements. These are all common problems with deepfakes because they are made using artificial neural networks. A feature that makes our software unique compared to other companies is that it does not have a gender or race bias, which this means that our training data includes a wider range of samples which other companies lack. It is also easier to use and low effort for clients who in the private sector. Next slide, please. Now onto our product overview. Here you can see a mobile version of our software, which allows for easy access to individuals. Our software has two versions, a free version and a paid subscription-based version. The free version will allow you to scan the web and will cross-reference any photos you upload. The paid version will provide an array of extra features, such as creating your own profile, and our software will continuously scan the web through different engines to see if there's any media that raises suspicion. There's also an add-on feature, which will focus on any social media SNS that you specify, such as Facebook or Instagram. Our future plan is to collaborate with companies such as YouTube and Twitter to provide this service on the corporate scale to prevent rather than to mitigate such problems. So we prevent them before they occur. Next slide, please.
And the next one, I want to present our business plan. And as you see here, we have 9 critical points of business plan. The first one I want to kick off with the point is our key partners. So our key partners can be Google, YouTube, Twitter, and is maybe have a little bit sensitive partners like pornographic websites. And next one, I would want to present key activities. So our operation can be our training deepfake detection model with a new resource. And the next one, data science, data sets, programmers can be our resources. And the next one is really extremely important. Resources is the fund. And the next one I want to present about the value proposition. And our proposition can be online or integrated deepfake detection websites. You can see, for example, we can create a separated website online. Then user can upload the videos or the claim they can detect the deepfake, or we can create an integrated application. Then we integrate it into the YouTube websites, and user can get the alert automatically.
So talk about the customer relationships. So sorry, please stay the previous. Please back to the previous slide. Please, okay. So to talk about the customer relationships, we provide various kind of services, right? Depending on the customer demand. So we will make the contract like 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. And as you can see at the customer segments, the top tier of target customers are people, government, and military. And we will provide our product for free searching. But if some people want to use add-on services like analysis or automatically detect deepfakes, so they need to pay some money based on our contract. So, and the channels for selling our product is the website, and we will use the online marketing to advertise our product. To talk about the revenue stream, so we can get money based on the target customers, like from people who want to use the add-on service like real-time or automatically detection, and we will also make a contract with governments so they can use the services like monitoring and detecting the deepfake, and also identify the creator and location. And we will make a contract with military like government in case of the creator living outside the country and had some purpose like the military needs to take the responsibility. To talk about the cost structure, we have to pay for cloud server in order to process and store data. We also have the system maintenance cost and fixed cost for online advertisement per month. So next slide, please.
Our target is defined widely due to technological evolution, not only political and actors, but also the general student is becoming a target of deepfake. Irresponsibly, this comprehensively from law discussion has begun in US. Today, deepfake is used female than male, so we aim at considering gender balance. Also, celebrities face to abuse so much. This is why difficult, especially protect deepfake in these cases strongly. Let's see this is example of deepfake video. Next slide, please.
Hello. So we are Group A, and we are talking about a security system targeted to the usage of elderly users. So next slide, please. Hi, so we're created a business proposal making a smart AI targeting the elderly group in Japan. And our mission is written on the slide is like enhancing the digital inclusion and safety of all users across the internet and web surface. And also our vision is to provide a strong and safe security system for elderly in Japan through user-oriented products and services.
And we made a market research in Japan. The internet penetration among elderly have been showing a steady rise with 76.6% of the age of 60 to 69 years old using the internet. For those above 70 years old also have a high internet usage with 51% penetration rate. So in our previous presentation, we identified that elderly population were more prone to cyber attack due to the lack of computing experience and knowledge. The increasing internet usage can therefore lead to an increase in cyber attack. So moreover, Japan aging society shows that elderly above 65 years old make up more than 26% of the entire population. So this combined with the increasing internet usage and the rise of ICT and other technical devices means that cybersecurity firm targeting elderly population will have a huge market potential in Japan.
Next slide, please. So our product is a multi-purpose smart home AI, but it is not a standalone independent device. It is a add-on extension feature to current existing things like Alexa and OK Google. So its main duty is that it serves as a home security. So it connects to, when you connect it to your home devices and other smart devices in your home, such as it connects to your door lock and intercoms for facial recognition, and it also serves as a thing for website monitoring and guides to installing antivirus and anti-malware, malware, yeah. And another big feature is that it analyzes big data to check a foreign user and website's access log and decide if that user is going to be detrimental to your PC usage or mobile usage. So for privacy issues, of checking another individual's past logs to decide if it's for its own good. So it has to be certified, and then it has to use data that has been certified by the cyber police. And it also assists elderlies in their usage of home devices, such as mobiles and PCs, by voice. So they educate them cyber-wise and raise awareness about their possibility of a cyber attack on their homes. And because it is an add-on feature, it also serves, it's different from conventional home devices by that while conventional home devices use a they need a specific instruction, or they respond to only keywords. They also give daily reminders and notices via voice to notify elderly users of incoming safe calls and provide company to help with loneliness, because our main product is elderly.
So for the product and feasibility, so the price to differentiate our product from competitors will incorporate penetration pricing by keeping the product cheap and affordable. Since existing AI speakers cost around 3,000 yen, we decided to set the price to around 2,000 yen. And to ensure profit, a subscription based pay will be incorporated where customers will pay monthly in return for additional security system. And also for the funds, since our company will be classified as a social enterprise, as we aim to protect the elderly from cyber attacks through our product, our source of fund will be mainly from government grant. And for feasibility, in order to ensure that the product provides a strong security system against cyber attacks for elderly, connect all home devices through IoT. Next slide, please.
And yes, from here, I would like to talk about type of stakeholders. So there are basically two type of stakeholders that we would like to discuss. There is internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. So regarding internal stakeholders, the organization chart of firms include chief level members, advisory board, and fellow employees. The application engineer team in charge of research and development for the home installed smart AI and security specialist products. And support specialist team will be responsible for offline and online maintenance services. The firm will invite information and technical advisor for providing system monitoring, testing, and debugging supports. And yes.
For the external stakeholders, the users will be both classified as internal and external stakeholders because it's important to incorporate a sophisticated user interface design considering of the need of the elderlies. And also another important external stakeholder will be the government because innovative cybersecurity firm that provides product or services that helps protect elderly can be an asset to the government because it can help reduce cyber attacks, and also the company can get a government grant because it's a social enterprise, and also suppliers and consultant play an important role too.
Thank you. And any questions?
Yeah, what kind of a major vulnerability you are expecting for the kind of such an environment like a home?
Since we're going to be using like IoT, so there's still the risk of many viruses through the, as you mentioned a couple weeks ago, through the Google Home, where it could be hacked. But that's not really, we're not providing the IoT, so I don't know really how to deal with it.
The service that we're providing is mainly about our main audience is the elderly, and elderly, especially those who live alone. And so the threat to our thing is that we have no reason to be cyber attacked intentionally. So our main purpose is to just prove to exist as a means to educate and help elderly have the adequate amount of the least amount of cybersecurity that a normal home would need. So we do not have any risks of being intentionally attacked.
I have 8 speakers at home, and almost every day they're attacked.
We're group 4 and we'll be doing a business proposal about our project. Next slide, please. So we'll be introducing about quantum IoT. It's a difficult topic. And quantum IoT is using quantum physics, quantum mechanical laws to implement IoT security management system. Next slide, please. And more specifically, we'll be talking about quantum cryptography. And quantum cryptography involves the usage of quantum properties to perform cryptographic tasks. And it uses 2 types of computers, classical computers and quantum computers. And classical computer uses bits, and bits are like the zeros and ones that we see in our daily laptop that we use every day. And quantum computers are also it's called qubit, but it also has 0 and 1. However, it's in superposition state, And this is what it makes this quantum cryptography very unique. And this means that the qubits are both in 0 and 1 state, and qubits cannot be copied while the bits can be copied. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. And quantum cryptography, so how it works is that if Alice wants to send an information to Bob, Alice first uses two special processors, processors A and processor B, to change the bits into qubits. Then when Bob received those qubits information, he uses special machine A and machine B, to turn the qubit back into bits. And machine A can only process the information that was processed by processor A correctly, but then it cannot correctly identify the information that was processed by processor B. And machine B, on the other hand, can correctly identify the information that was processed by processor B, but it cannot correctly identify the information that was processed by processor B. And then after he does that, he sends the information back to Alice, and Alice will tell Bob which machine was used correctly. And then after that, Bob and Alice will send sequence of bits, and they will confirm whether the credibility is right or wrong. Next slide, please.
Yeah. So there are two communication channels. One is optical fiber. The photon can be transmitted on optical fiber. So existing optical fiber network can be used for quantum key distribution, but the photon is attenuated gradually, so the transmission distance is about 100 kilometers now. The other is satellite. The photon is attenuated in space because space is vacuum. So satellite enables quantum key distribution between continents. Next slide, please.
So I'll be talking about the advantages of quantum cryptography. And one of the advantages is that it establishes secure communication by providing security based on fundamental laws of physics rather than mathematical algorithms. And a prime example of this would be the photon polarization principle, which refers to when that an eavesdropper can't manipulate can't copy the unique quantum bits, such as the unknown quantum state, due to the no cloning principle. And when it tries to do so, it just destroys the other information. And the other advantage is that it's virtually unhackable because it's resistant to eavesdroppers and other forms of hacking. And the other advantage is that it's very simple, as it doesn't need a lot of resources to keep the system going. And quantum cryptography is advantageous as it's continuously improving. Next slide, please.
Okay, what's the present state of quantum cryptography? You're a company that are designing products, schemes, and architectures. You will need to, that will mean replacing certificates, sitting in secure elements, exchanging crypto material with material generated using the new quantum resistant algorithms. So this means that implementing and deploying the quantum safe material will require what we call crypto agility. What exactly is crypto agility? Basically, it is exchange non-quantum safe information with quantum safe information for the new systems. So there are actually, how can we implement this? There are two viable options. We could use hybrid implementations. It basically combines the best of proven crypto algorithms with quantum safe crypto algorithms. Another option could be the use of software development kits that allow the implementation of the quantum safe algorithms. So what are some companies that are providing this? For example, ETSI SI, which provides hardware security models for these solutions. And also Ultimaco provides the HSM simulators, hardware security models, that allows the use of SDKs for quantum systems. Next one.
Customer and stakeholder. Quanta cryptography can used to protect some important things for IoT, like hospital, factory, military communication, or government. And quantum cryptography is difficult to be attacked, so it can protect some important things from hackers. So quantum cryptography can used for IoT to protect some important things for our society.
Thank you for listening. This is it. Any questions?
When your companies start providing these services?
Like right now, even it's widely used. Like University of Tohoku, they partner with Toshiba, and they were Toshiba, and they were able to use this quantum cryptography as well. But the problem about this is that the distance is a problem. So they were only able to make it, but the distance was 7 kilometers, not that long. So even if we are to use it, it'll be used in a very important place, like for example, hospital to hospital connection, where information sending is really vital, and we're targeting those places. And later on, if we improve, we want to target like Europe, how like countries such as like European countries, since they're really close, we can target those places as well.
Okay, a question from Nice. I mean, quantum computing and IoT is quite new, so there are still some challenges. My question is to know how you guys are you going to make money?
I'm sorry, make more what?
To make more what? What is
Money,
Oh,
money.
how to make more money?
So selling this device itself is making money, and then after we sell it, we can just conduct more research. And quantum itself is a research topic that we're still developing and is still going on, and it has infinite possibility. So there, it has multiple ways to earn money.
So I mean,
Okay. More questions?
Okay. 今日最後。Okay. All right. So yeah, sorry the overtime, but the other presentation were good in terms of working together with a nice standard SFC. So yeah, I just want you to know that this has been going on between those two universities. Started with Professor Suguru Yamaguchi for like 10 years, I believe. More than 10 years. And then, we never know that what's going to be next year because of the system change on both of the university classes. Therefore, I'd like to say that, thank you very much for the collaboration between two universities, and you are participating on probably the historical experiences of kind of joint classes with the two universities working together, and you did a great job in terms of joint presentation. Congratulations. And thank you very much for Nara, and I really appreciate for the past more 10 plus years of a collaboration between Nara Institute and the SFC. So I think this was a historical years for providing the classes. Thank you.
Thank you for SFC side as well for collaborating with us.